Hi. So maybe I should call it uh, Talking Heads class. Hi. Anyway, yes, it's a little bit of a goofy class today. I kind of felt like, hey, I'm doing a kids yoga class in a couple of weeks at England's Books in Waitsfield, and why do they get to have all the fun of doing the animal and flora and fauna poses? So we're gonna do it. Yay! So we are going to start sitting as we normally do, but we're going to think about it more like sitting still like a frog, which is a really fantastic book that was created for kids and their parents and teachers. But I think it's also very valuable for adults, single, double, whatever you are. My name is Karen, coming to you from Salt and Sand Studios. I'm really happy to be here. So you want to be comfortable, maybe sitting on a prop, have a long spine, draw the belly slightly in and up. We're going to shrug the shoulders up to the ears to start. Maybe we think of this as more monkey or ape-like, and then we release them down. Breathing in again, and back, and release. And once again. And I know penguins don't really sit, but we're going to imagine maybe we're a very short penguin, that we are seated. We're going to bring our hands like this down next to us. There's no need to waddle or move back and forth necessarily, but imagine that you are a penguin kind of standing with all of your other penguin friends. I don't know what a group of penguins is called. Are they called a flock, like birds? All right, they are birds. And we're going to drop the ear to one shoulder, doesn't matter which one. And we breathe. Really press the heels of the hands away from you, downward. Lift the head and opposite ear to opposite shoulder. And chin lifts, and then I sort of think of it as mermaid-like, fictional. Fingertips down, the left fingertips down onto the ground, and we float the right arm high. Get really long in the torso, and then tilt over to the left. Maybe this is more like synchronized swimmers. And then we rise up and take it the opposite way. And this time we lift up both arms overhead. Exhale the palms together at your heart. Bring your hands wherever they're comfortable. They don't have to remain at your heart. If you want to get more frog-like, you might drop them onto your thighs. We're going to imagine first all of our frog friends kind of jumping around on the lily pads and maybe moving closest to the closest lily pad to us. We can feel their energy, but suddenly that energy gets softer. We're waiting. We're present. Perhaps we're watching. Because frogs can sit still for a long time. And when we practice meditation, we often call it sitting. I'm going to go sit, or I'm going to sit with this emotion. I'm going to sit with this consideration. And people will often say, I can't sit still for very long, or I can't meditate. I don't know how to meditate. My mind is crazy. I can't still it. And that's okay. For in meditation, it is the process. It is the practice. There's no perfect. So we will sit. And if something gets itchy, like your nose or the back of your hand, you're just going to breathe. It's those little things that we decide how we're going to respond to that give us the practice for the larger things, the larger irritants or concerns or worries. We allow the breath to flow in and flow out, sitting still like a frog. Take a big breath in through your nose. Open your mouth, let it go. Drop your chin to your chest. And now we're going to roll the head gently in one direction. Ooh, a little snap, crackle, pop. I got the Rice Krispie neck going on. And then in the opposite direction. We're going to find our way into a child's pose. And what I love about starting with child's pose is the ability to lengthen the back, to comfort the low back across the low hips. And in this particular practice, it gives us an opportunity to kind of become one with our child, our inner child, since we're going to be working with animals and flora and mountain pose, things found in nature. Breathe in and out. Palms draw together in front of you with the pinkies on the ground. Head drops back to the earth. You may go ahead and bend the elbows, keeping the palms pressed together. Drawing the fingers to the nape of the neck or between the shoulder blades. And now, if it works for you, without lifting your bottom from your heels, you're going to walk one elbow forward and then the other. Maybe have a couple more of those walks that work for you. Settle back down and start to feel all of the opening in the armpits and the side bodies and maybe the shoulders, the upper back. Breathing in. And breathing out. We're going to draw the forearms back to the ground and come up to a tabletop with our forearms on the ground. You might need to adjust a little bit to bring the elbows underneath the shoulders. The palms are as flat to the mat as you can get them. The belly is drawn in, the tailbone down. And it's as if you're kind of energetically drawing the mat backward with your palms, your fingers, and your forearms. In here, we'll work into our typical and more prevalent animals in yoga, which are the cat and the cow, but we're taking it slightly differently. I'm going to start with a cow. Belly drops, the hips and the gaze lifts. That is a breath in. A breath out, we round the spine, push the ground away with the feet, the shins, the knees, the forearms, the head drops like you're looking at your navel, like cat. Inhale, cow. Breathe out, cat. Inhale, cow. And breathe out, cat. We're going to pause for some sturdiness and steadiness, a nice long spine. Stretch your right leg long onto the mat, the foot onto the mat, so the ball of the foot and the toes. And then find a little rocking forward and backward. You might be feeling this in the toes, in the sole of the foot, in the calf and the ankle. Imagine that right kneecap is sort of lifting up toward your quad. Shoulders will come over the elbows, I almost said wrists, And now we're going to float that leg off the mat. Reach backward with your heels. See if you can square your hips up. And then if you like, you can open up this tabletop, stacking the right hip over the left, maybe even bending the right knee. You might take a peek down or over to the left to square things up. And go ahead and find ankle circles. Open and close the toes. And we're going to straighten that leg out. Square up the hips. And then we're going to sweep that leg above the left calf. Drop the shoelace side of the right foot onto the ground. It's outside the mat. Glide that leg back and out to the left until the front of your right hip is near your left heel. You might need to move your forearms back. I think of this as like a water bug, that you get on the lake or the pool. If you like a little extra challenge and you have more flexibility in those left glutes, you can tuck your right toes under and float the knee off the mat or the ground. This time we're going to bring the palms to the ground. We're going to come into a three-legged tabletop. Draw your knee toward your left tricep your right tricep or elbow. Inhale, extend, and bring your knee to the mat. If I screwed up lefts and rights on that, my apologies. I'm going to now go with whatever I'm doing exactly is what I will guide you to. We're going to return to our forearms, set things up, find another couple cats and cows. The more domesticated animals that we're working with today. Neutral spine, left leg stretches, or whatever the opposite leg is that you did last time. The ball of the foot, the toes are on the mat, and we find that rock forward and backward. Really press the heel away. And once the shoulders stack over the elbows again, we float the leg up. We're finding balance. We're using the top of the right foot onto the ground. We're using the belly. We're using the glutes. Now we open up that hip. Stacking the left hip over the right, maybe bending the knee, maybe looking toward the right. Ankle circles. Open and close the toes. Square the hips back up, extend your leg. Sweep the left leg above the right calf. It comes all the way outside your mat on the right side. Drop the shoelace side of the foot down. And then glide the foot out and back. Leg follows. Front of your left hip is near your right heel. Tuck the left toes under if you've got more to work with, and float the knee off the mat, reaching the heel farther away. We're going to return to a three-legged tabletop on our palms. Draw the left knee above the left elbow. Extend it once again. And the knee returns to the mat. Bring the knees together. If you need something under your knees, feel free to take it. Or if you have trouble bending your knees, you can always roll up a blanket or a towel and place it behind your thighs. We're going to move into bunny pose, which is also known as the knees together child's pose. Balasana 1, actually. So the knees are together. Sitting bones come toward the heels. Hands come toward the feet, and then we come to the top of the head if possible. You can always put a blanket or something underneath your head. Bunny. Drop the shoulders. If you need to, or if it feels better, you might turn your head to one side and then the other. Plant the hands under your shoulders, press yourself up. You're seated on your heels. We're going to move to something a little bit more exotic, which is lion. Many of you have done this with me before. I add into the lion a little massage of the thighs, but you can just leave your hands on your thighs if you like. With lion, we breathe in fully, 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 and then as we force the air out of our mouths, the tongue also comes out and we vocalize. So if you got people walking around you, I think it's kind of fun. So breathe in as fully as you can, lifting the chest and let it go. 2 more times. Careful not to squeeze the shoulders up. That feels nice. Come back to your tabletop, and now our more traditional down dog, walking the hands forward. You tuck the toes under and float your hips high. Checking in, maybe with the length of your downward dog. If you come into a plank, and then lift the hips, your hands and feet should not need to move. You might walk the dog a little bit by bending the knees, lifting the heels up one at a time. And then we pause. Bring the right hand toward the left calf, ankle, or foot and take a peek under the left arm. Plant that hand back, down dog, left hand. And plant that hand down. Rise to the tiptoes, bend your knees a lot, look past your hands, and make your way to them. That could be a walk, a skip, a crawl, a hop, forward fold. Interlace your fingers. I like to think of this, the arms and the head are like the front of the elephant, and you're swaying your trunk side to side. Pause, release the hands toward the earth. Palms toward your shins, a halfway lift. Super long spine. You might drop your bottom a little bit. Collarbone smile, breathing. And release. 2 more of those. Halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Gently flow all the way to standing. We're going to find our way into mountain pose. Hands by your sides, palms face forward if they can. Steady, sturdy, connected to the earth. And yet not so steady and sturdy that there's no movement. If there's a little sway in the body, there's a little sway in the body. Arms flow overhead. Exhale for your forward fold. Step back for a high plank. Find your way into a low plank. Nose, chin, chest, hips. A back bend. Maybe it's a baby cobra. Down to the mat. At a table, a downward dog, maybe through tabletop. Or maybe not. Peel forward to your high plank. Downward dog. Come forward, high plank. Come halfway down. Come all the way down, a sphinx, forearms to the ground. Imagine that the energy of your heart is reaching forward of your fingertips. You're dragging the mat backward with your forearms, your palms, and your fingers. Breathe 3, 2, and all the way down to the ground, downward facing dog. We float the right leg off the mat. A runner's lunge. You might need your hands to help that front foot like I just did. Road runner, beep, 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 beep. Slowly, we're going to tap the back knee to the earth and then lift it up. Again, we tap and lift, runner's lunge, road runner's lunge. Exhale, tap the back knee. And road runner's lunge. Left hand down, right arm floats, or maybe the heel of the hand comes to the low back. That front knee pointing straight forward, press into the big toe onto that foot. And the right hand down, Parsvottanasana. Straighten your front leg, hop your back foot up, and fold over your front leg. Check that your hips are square. And step forward, forward fold. Rise to stand, arms overhead. And a chair pose. I sort of think of this a little bit like a monkey swinging from one branch to the next. Hands release behind you. If you can interlace your fingers, go ahead. If you can't, you could hook them or just stack the hands. Knuckles toward the earth, collarbones open, and fold over your legs. Release the hands, halfway lift, forward fold, high plank, maybe knees down, low plank, your back bend, cobra, sphinx, and downward facing dog. Left foot floats up nice and high. Road runner's lunge. Nice and long. Beep, beep. Back knee drops, touches. Extend the leg again. Back knee drops. Extend. And again. Right hand down, left arm high for your twist. Think about the pelvis moving forward rather than downward. And Parsvottanasana, pyramid pose, right hand down, back foot steps up part way, fold over your front leg, squaring up your hips. Back foot steps up to meet the front, forward fold. Our primate pose chair. And we twist like we're swinging from one branch to another, left arm forward, right arm behind. We peek toward the back thumb. Triceps engaged. Arms forward, lock them into your shoulders, twist to the other side. Arms forward, rise up. Hands to your heart. If you have any trouble or concerns about balancing, you might go to a wall. We're going to move into a tree. We're going to start with what I'll call a short tree, or maybe it's a bush. Simply by lifting the right heel, scooting the foot, sole of the foot to the inside of your ankle, and working that bent knee backward. A form of tree that's a little less wobbly for many, but not all. Steady, sturdy gaze, drishti, on one single point that is not moving. And we switch sides. Left heel up, sole of the foot. Keep the toes on the ground if that's helpful. A little flexibility in the standing leg. And drop that foot. Arms sweep high. Exhale for your forward fold. Inhale, rise to standing. Hands to your heart. We're going to work into a bird, but you can always have the back foot of the bird on the floor. So energy comes into your right foot and leg, and the left leg lifts up. We shift the heart forward and sweep that left leg back. If that means bringing the toes to the ground, bring the toes to the ground. And we step into a crescent warrior. We bring the back knee all the way to the earth and untuck the toes. Knee down lunge. Cactus shape arms. Right elbow underneath the left, one wrap or two. Elbows lift shoulder height or higher. Hand away from the face. Squeeze those left glutes. Breathe. Maybe sink a little deeper into the front hip crease. Opening up the hip flexor on the front of the left hip. Yeah, hip. Your hip flexor is not going to be at your shoulder. And we're going to humble this posture. Hands plant inside your right foot. Tuck your left toes under. Straighten your back leg, and we're going to move into a warrior two. So the back foot comes parallel to the back of the earth. The arms windmill up. We have a sweet bend in the front knee. Flip your front palm reverse. Today, our ultimate pose is pigeon, obviously another bird. So we're really working to open up the hips here. So we're going to move into a side angle. You can always do this from tabletop. We'll return to warrior two and set up for triangle. Straightening the front leg, keeping the shoulders over the hips. We shift the front arm forward until we can't any longer. We drop it down inside the calf, the knee, the thigh. And now we drop the left hand, come to the ball of the back foot, and drop the back knee. We're not at pigeon yet. Untuck your foot. Move the right foot way to the right. If you like a twist and or a quad stretch before, forgot the name of it. You can go ahead and take that. Pelvis forward. Right hand inside your right knee or thigh. You're pressing your knee away and down. Pelvis moves forward. And now lizard. So you want the toes and the heel perpendicular. We open up that foot like a book, and maybe, but maybe not, the hands will walk forward and or the forearms come to the ground or pillow. Hands draw back under the shoulders. The right foot comes to the mat. We tuck the back toes under and hop into a wide-legged forward fold. I was considering doing actual frog pose, but I think pigeon is a little bit more friendly to most of us from a hip opener perspective. We're going to wide-legged forward fold, and now we have the opportunity to do whatever we like. I'm going to use gravity to help my fold, pressing the feet into the earth to lift the hips. Noggin is loose. Hands down. Bring your feet a little closer together. We're going to squat down, coming to the balls of the feet. You bring your bum toward your heels. And maybe you stay here, or perhaps your hands come to your heart. We're going to drop the heels and press to standing and find all those hijinks on the other side. It's like a zoo in here. Energy into your left foot, right knee lifts up. We shift the heart forward and the leg back. Maybe the toes touch to the ground. And we step back for crescent warrior. Back knee drops, toes untuck. Cactus shape arms. Press the pelvis forward, eagle arms this time left under right. Maybe sneak that left foot a little farther forward and send a little more energy into that front foot. Humble your Anjaneyasana. Hand inside your left foot. Tuck your back toes under, warrior two. Take your time. If you need to adjust your position of your feet and legs, feel free. Little hyena smile on my face. Flip your front palm reverse. Side angle. Warrior two. Reverse. Triangle pose. I don't have an animal name for any of those. We look down, drop the right hand, come to the ball of the back foot, maybe lengthen our stance. Left foot moves out to the left. Drop the back knee and a twist. Hands under your shoulder, toes and heels perpendicular. Nope, that's parallel. And open up that foot like a book. Walk the hands forward, perhaps. Lizard pose, pelvis moves forward. It's funny, I was thinking as I was creating the description for this practice, I forgot how many poses actually are already in a pretty standard vinyasa class that have animal or reptile or bug or flora names or references. Hands come under your shoulders, tuck your toes under, high plank, downward dog. We're going to float the right leg again, and this time we're going to come into pigeon, right knee behind the right wrist. Set yourself up if you need to place a prop underneath your right glutes because they don't touch the ground. Please do a little back bend and then a fold. This is a place where sitting still like a frog can be helpful as well, even though you're not actually seated. It's coming back to that notion of being on a shallow pond, sitting on your lily pad, or in your pigeon on a lily pad, observing, checking in with the breath, the very tiny little movement of the water, the sounds around you. Hands will plant underneath your shoulders, and we'll swing ourselves into a three-legged dog with the right leg lifted. And open up the dog once more. Square the hips, lengthen the leg, knee to the nose. Inhale, extend, and downward dog. This time, left leg floats high. We draw into our pigeon, left knee behind the left wrist, shin as parallel to the front of your mat as possible. Maybe lengthen your back leg. Come into your back bend and fold. Hands plant once more under your shoulders. Tuck the back toes under. Float into your three-legged downward dog. And last one, open up the down dog. Hips square, leg lengthens, knee to nose. Inhale, extend. And the foot returns to the mat. We'll move into our tabletop to find our way to a back bend, which is in Sanskrit Anahatasana. I like puppy dog. It's a nice heart opener. So you keep the hips right over the knees, walk the hands forward until your forehead, chin, or chest comes to the mat. If you need something under your forehead, take it. And imagine that the back behind the heart, on your back, there's like a little cup. The back is a cup. And all the beautiful warming energy from sitting on that lily pad is gathering into that cup. The sun, the moisture, the beautiful sounds, the scent in the air, and all of this beautiful, generous offering from nature gives your heart a hug and softens it toward the earth. Tuck your tail. Draw back into either Balasana 1 or 2. If you come in to 1 with your knees together, you might take rabbit again. The hands, the arms by your legs, and the top of the head on the earth. Rise up to sitting on your heels. We're going to do a little sort of angel-like thing. So you're going to bring the palms to the chest, the elbows out. We're going to take a big breath in. Twist over to the right, and then maybe the right arm, the right wing unfurls. Think about what that does with your shoulder blades. Return front and center, both hands at your heart, a breath in and out. Inhale. Exhale, twist left. Open up your left wing. Squeeze the shoulder blade in toward the other one. Come forward, hands over your heart. Breath in. Release. We'll take one more lion. So hands on your thighs. Big, 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 big breath in. And then we're going to push it out with the tongue and a nice loud sigh or roar. Find your way onto a seat. We're coming toward the end of our practice here. Let's start by bringing the soles of the feet together and the knees drop out. You can bring the heels close to your bottom if you like, and maybe sit upright or perhaps peel the feet open like a book and find a fold. If you have rounded your spine, come out of that. We're going to stretch the legs in front of us for Paschimottanasana. Sitting up nice and straight. Maybe this is another snake. It's like a nice, quiet snake hiding in the grass, making itself smaller by folding over the top half to the bottom. And then we unravel the snake all the way long onto the grass. Arms up overhead, toes point forward. Reach and breathe in. Let it go. Right knee gathers into your chest and crosses the body. You'll come onto your left hip for a twist. Arms can flop out to the sides. We're aiming to have the shoulder blades on the ground if possible. And the gaze is over the right hand. We take that to the other side. And roll back onto our back. A happy baby, which you might also think of as an upside down ladybug or an upside down beetle. And then any final posture, any final shape, any final movement you need before Shavasana, take that here and meet me in your full Shavasana posture. Take 3 breaths wherever you go. And into Shavasana if you're not there already. This time perhaps imagining you're a stick insect. Still, steady, aware, observing. Make your way back to a seat in whatever way makes sense for your body. Let the palms draw together in front of you. Close your eyes and consider here what your wish is for yourself and what your wish is for all living things. Let's send those wishes out on the breath, on the air, like so many wishes in a prayer flag. We'll use the sound of Om to do so. Inhale deeply. Thumb knuckles meet right at the center of your forehead. May all beings be happy. Namaste. Thank you to each and every one of you individually and collectively, whether you're here live or on the recording. It's always great to practice, especially with you. Have a good one. Thanks.